Retiring in San Miguel, Episode 20, Residency Interview. There are two big interviews you must do to live in the Azores or Portugal. The first is to get your visa, and you can see more about that in episode 13, where I go through getting a D7 visa. And the second big interview is to get your residency interview with the AIMA. Get your D7 visa. It gives you 4 months to live in the Azores or Portugal. And in that 4 months, you have to get an interview with the AIMA for a residency, which gives you 2 years of being able to live in Portugal. Once you get your residency visa or residency card, it gets you 2 years to stay in Portugal, and then you could renew it another time for 3 years, and then hopefully at that time you will take your language tests, and then if you pass it, you will get a Portuguese passport. There's a lot of conflicting information about what is required for these interviews, and I found the best source was a Facebook group called the American and Friends PT, which is for Portugal. And that has a great wealth of information for you to go through. When I got to the Azores, I tried to get an appointment, and they listed a phone number which I called, but it didn't get me anywhere. And so I decided that I would look for the closest AIMA office, and there was one in Ribeira Grande, which I went to that office. I just rode there with my bicycle and walked in the office, and they saw me. And when I asked them if I can set up an appointment, they told me that their office isn't the one that does it, that I would have to contact the office in Punta Delgada, which is what I tried to do. They gave me a phone number to call, which I called, and a person answered, and he said, "Oh, you have to submit an email request to a particular email," which I did, but then I received an email saying that I did not have permission, or there's a security issue, so they wouldn't be able to get my email. So, there wasn't a way for me to set up an appointment. So then I posted on the second group called Expats in San Miguel, and they, are a little bit more informative about things that are in the Azore Islands, versus the other group is very much mainland Portugal centric. So when I posted a question there, they suggested I visit a nonprofit organization to help immigrants, the AIPA, which I did. I walked into the nonprofit's office on a Friday afternoon, and they filled out a request for an AIMA appointment, and they would submit it directly to them and then get me an appointment. Well, read all these horrible stories about people waiting months and months to get an interview because they were hard to come by. They even had to make an amendment to the law because they were thousands of interviews behind. So I wasn't sure what to expect, but they called me 3 days later saying, hey, we have an appointment for you on August 1st, a little more than a month away. I thought this group is absolutely amazing. If you're in the Azores, you have it a little bit easier than on the mainland if you go through this organization. So in the email, they told me that I had to bring a few different documents: the passport, a certificate of where I was living, a NIF, NISS, a criminal record, and proof of subsistence. So I went to the local Junta de Freguesia to get a testo, which says that I'm a resident of that town. So the office was only 2 blocks away, and I got that in 5 minutes. It was nice and easy. So I didn't know what a NISS was, so I mentioned it to the Facebook group, and they said it was a Portuguese version of Social Security. So I went to the Portuguese Social Security website and tried to navigate to get a Social Security number, but it just led me around in circles and I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I ended up going to the AIPA office and asking them about it, and they said, oh, you should just go directly to the Social Security office. It's right next to the shopping mall. So I knew where that was. I said, sure, I would do that. So a week later, I went to the Social Security office, and they guided me to the one English-speaking clerk, and she submitted the form and told me that in a week I will get a letter, and if not, come back and see her. Well, it passed a week and I didn't get the letter, but I didn't have time to see her. But about 3 weeks later, I did get a letter with my Social Security number. So that was good. So even though it wasn't on my list, I read so many times that I had to have a private health insurance from a Portuguese company, which is sort of funny because I know that once you get residency, you're granted access to their social medicine. But being able to get residency, you have to have a private insurance policy first. So even though I had to get a travel insurance for a year, to get the D7, that I would have to get another health insurance, and it'd be sort of overlapping. Started doing research on what the insurance market was and what I had to do. Well, I found that there are only actually 3 companies that will cover a foreign resident who's over 60 years old. So I went to my insurance company that I insured my car and house, and it costed me $300 to get the top insurance for my house, and then I also got the top insurance for my car insurance, which costed me $500 a year. And I originally went to them and they said, oh, they'll do some research and get back with me. I didn't see their email, so I went back to their office only like a week before my appointment because I was getting concerned. So they offer me two different plans from MGen. And one was base, and that was for 30,000 euros of hospitalization, and that would cost 533 euros a month. Or the essential, which doubles that to 60,000 euros of hospitalization a month, which would cost 1,107 euros per year. Well, not that much insurance, but it's crazy cheap compared to health insurance in the US. I decided that I would just take the base package because, I'm not really I haven't had health insurance for 20 years, and my plan is to be responsible for my own health. And also that once I got residency, I would also have access to the Portuguese social medicine. So between those two, I think, it was pretty good. And if later I need to up it, I would do that. Working on the proof of means of subsistence was always a bit tricky for me. I was planning to run the Villa of the Golden Mermaid as a rental to earn income, but that's not what I'm planning to tell the Portuguese government. So I ended up just printing out my U.S. Social Security statement, which says I can draw Social Security when I'm 62, which is in 45 days. And then I would show that, I have more than the Azorean minimum wage of 861 euros per month. I made copies of my Portuguese bank account, my U.S. IRA and 401k, and hopefully that would be good enough. Well, my original appointment was at 3:30 p.m. On August 1st, and about 2 weeks before, they emailed me to say they are changing it to 9:30 a.m. Which I was okay with that. Their office was across the street from the Berkshire Hathaway real estate office, so I was sort of all prepared. And this morning I went to my interview. It was sort of weird. The office is, there's just this plain door between these two retail stores on a major street with no real signage to let you know it was this important government office. But it was just really a small office with some cubicles with plexiglass around them, probably due to the pandemic. I got there 20 minutes early, and they checked me in 10 minutes later. The clerk spoke good English and was very nice. She asked for the list of documents and made copies of everything, typed out some information from my passport, and then she took pictures, fingerprints, and had me write my signature. It cost me 177 euros to get the residency card, which they say would be sent to me in 30 to 60 days. It took 30 minutes to do that. I was the only person there, as in August, I guess most of their staff is on vacation, so there's only a limited spaces for interviews. I did ask her about health insurance because it wasn't required, and that I bring it, even though I did. And she told me it is required, but since they checked my travel insurance for the D7, they weren't going to check for this other health insurance now. So overall, it was easy and relaxed interview. I only had to travel 30 minutes, unlike my D7, which I had to fly from Florida to DC. So overall, that was the second big interview I had to do, and I'm good for the next 2 years, provided I do get my card in the next month or two. So hopefully this has been informative, and if so, let me know and keep watching for what comes next.